All right, Alexa off. I had asked the AI to play music that's in the public domain, and I don't know if that was going to be true. So I don't want to get any of those. YouTube won't show this, or any platform won't show this because there's like some song in the background. You really want to avoid that. Well, thank you for watching. If you are subscribed, thanks for subscribing. Thank you for supporting. Alexa, set a timer for 4 minutes.
4 minutes, starting now.
All right, we're going to try to do through this whole thing in 4 minutes. The reason is because it's really hard to keep something in your routine, especially when you have to hustle and hurry to go make your revenue. The way I'm doing that right now to support this channel is by doing rideshare. Check out some of the passengers that I talk to doing that rideshare. There's a lot more that are not uploaded yet, but one of the things that's really cool is it's so arbitrary, the people that you end up talking with and running into and the conversations you end up having. And sometimes no conversation, to be sure. Sometimes I don't want to talk. And clearly sometimes passengers don't want to talk. But when we do, when I'm feeling it, when I'm like, you know what, we're alive, we are here on this human experience together. What's it like? What's yours like? What's going on? You can get into some fun stuff. Check that out, please. Click the notifications, the subscription buttons, all of that. What we're doing today is we're taking a look at people who were born on this very day. And I do have AI, some type of automation going to pull this up and write this up for me so I can just spend some time on it, reading it, and letting you know some of the important figures throughout history that have been impactful in some positive, optimistic way or meaningful way. Hey, thank you for sending that and saying hi, Gray. It's really hard for me to, good morning to you. If you get into if you happen to get in the rideshare car with me, and you subscribe to this, that would be like the golden moment of reckoning. And you would definitely get like every single scratch lottery ticket that I have in the car. Sometimes just like when people take the venture and actually have a conversation in the rideshare car, I'm like, hey, thanks for talking to me. Here's a scratch off ticket. Take this. This might be your lucky day. You might win up to, some of them say like up to $25,000 just for playing a scratch off ticket. And, I haven't had anybody comment on a video and say, hey, thanks for giving me that scratch off ticket. I won $500, but I did have somebody win $50 in the car once, and another time $25, and a couple like $1 and $5. But that's kind of fun. All right, we're running out of time here. So we're gonna get to, good morning. Good morning to you. Let's do this. If you're in the East Coast time as I am, it is approximately 8:16 in the morning. I don't know why that's relevant. If you are in the West Coast, where I used to be, out there in California, out there in beautiful Los Angeles, then it is, 5:16. If you're in the Central time zone, good on you. Rocky Mountain, we got Rocky Mountain time zone. Heck yeah. Is that what it's called? What is Rocky Mountain called? Yeah, what's the subject of the stream? Alexa, timer off. We didn't get to any of the born on this day. The subject of the stream, I thought it was in the title. It's one of the reasons I'm doing this, is to figure out how I can compress this into something I can fit into the daily schedule, and make sure I'm doing all the things. There's so many things. The subject of this stream is people who were born this day, notable figures who were born this day, who gave us some type of ninja skill in whatever trade, whatever profession, whatever kind of walk of life or place that they're from. So we can be like, oh, right on. You are in Kentucky. That could be 1 hour behind East Coast. Is that one of those split time zone? Yeah, not just ninjas. Not just ninjas. Hey, I'm not just whatever I am at the time. Right now, I'm not just your rideshare driver. I am literally trying to make you feel as though the world is a more welcoming place than maybe you thought it was, because this guy actually wants to talk to you. Or funny, or talk sports, that kind of thing. So that's what the goal is to be not just something else. And if you have staff members that you manage or that you work with, that is a goal that I've found to be really effective. Hey, we're not just doing this, we're actually impacting like this whole street that we work on, which impacts the whole city, which, you know, like do what you can. But remember, it's not, you know, sometimes it's really difficult. Sometimes you're like, your job is literally to like, we need all these papers folded. And you're like, oh my God, I'm just folding papers. And you just get another paper. And you're like, oh my God, I'm just folding another paper. And you just do that. And then, yeah, if you've ever had a job like that, when it feels like literally I'm trying to find some other way to think that this is contributing to some higher power or higher state of existence, sometimes it's not, and that's fine too. But the search for that is good. That time you took this morning, get out, got you talking some. That line you took this morning. That line you took this morning. Interesting. I didn't take any lines this morning, I don't think. All right, so now we're gonna get into it. Today is January the 9th. And I didn't do the AI automation, so I'm literally just gonna scroll through one of these lists and look for the most significant people. I try to find between 4 and 7 people that it's like, that's who we could take a notes from. Like, oh, that's inspiration. That's another Capricorn like me who did something kind of interesting. What can I do that's interesting? Well, sometimes when you go back to the 1500s, you've got a lot of, it's really funny to see where people were born. And like, you're not going to know who most of these people are, but somehow they're in this history page, born on this day list for doing something. Like Christoph Buell, born in 1574 on this day, a composer from Germany. And this is what's funny. Their city of birth is born in the free city of Nuremberg, Holy Roman Empire. So this free imperial city of Nuremberg, that was like the title. Where do you live? I live in the free imperial city of Nuremberg, as a matter of fact. In the Holy Roman Empire, not just empire, not just Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire. History is kind of amazing. And let's see, let's scroll through. I don't think that that's like the one to celebrate. I didn't look into that person. These are the types of things that you observe when you go back to, like, you know, the thousands, the BC times sometimes. It's really fascinating. Do you like football? I love football. Did anybody see that game last night between the Ole Miss and Miami? The U, you know, if you weren't part of the U, you don't really like the U because they were so intimidating back in the day. But the U is back. Yes, take the light some weed and take the day off. Yeah, I had a time for that when it was in my younger days. I had a time that it was like, man, let's light some weed and take the day off. That hasn't, it's been a long time. Favorite part of history is 1066 England. Interesting. What the hell happened in 1066 England? England. And is that just arbitrary to send me on a wild goose chase? Probably is. It says that around that time, the Norman conquest. Yeah. Exactly, the Norman conquest. The Norwegian king invaded northern England. Interesting. See, that's what I'm talking about. You go down these rabbit holes and you're like, dear Lord, the stories that were involved in that whole drama. No. All right, we got to find a couple people. Then I got to get in that car and start driving people around so I can earn some freaking money. All right, I think the first one we're going to come to is all the way in 1859. There's a woman who was born in Wisconsin, Ripon, Wisconsin, in the United States of these Americas, Carrie Chapman Catt. And it says she was an American women's suffrage leader and founder of the League of Women Voters. That's interesting just in itself right there, because like, what do? I'm a suffrage advocate, a suffragette. And it just makes you think that like, how long were women sitting around and it didn't even occur that like, hey, can I vote? Can I go vote? At some point they started saying, where do you vote? And they're like, what do you mean, where do you vote? You can't vote. She was born in the what did it say? Born in 1859. So, becoming an adult and then deciding that's what she wanted to throw her weight into, was figuring out a way that she and other women could vote. She grew up in Iowa and worked to pay her own college education. Hey, if you work to pay your own college education, it's a little tougher. You don't have as much time to study. And it's hard. I mean, I worked at a gas station while I was in college, and I had to work quite a lot. I also worked at, I did some landscaping, tried to work at a Bob's Big Boy. Hi, hello, Gray. Thanks for saying hi again. And I see another comment from you. So, if you're the only one watching and you just keep commenting, that's also awesome. I don't know what the little purple crowns are. When somebody leaves a comment, there's like a little icon of a crown. I think it's like a royal crown. One of the reasons I'm doing this is to learn. I know everything about like everything else, but I don't know how to do this. All right, we get back into Carrie Chapman Catt, one of the ninjas that was born this way. She went to the Iowa Agricultural College, and she challenged this rule that only men could speak without preparation in the literary society. That's just to think of being in a room where that dilemma is actually a thing is just fascinating to me. Have you prepared anything today, Carrie? No, I'm just going to speak in this literary society without having prepared anything. I'm just going to speak off the cuff. I just recently, read King Lear, or a sonnet of some kind, and I would just like to talk off the cuff. Like, well, if you were a dude you could. But if you're a woman, we want to know. We want you to have prepared and have a slide deck, and have a couple reports to show us. Let's see if she ever did get to vote. So just because she advocated for suffrage for women, does suffrage mean that women vote, or does suffrage mean the right to vote? I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look that up. I know it doesn't mean suffering. Some people get those messed up. 3 little birds sat on my window. Keep the random stuff coming. It's probably not random in some way, but I missed the 3 little birds that on my doorstep. Yeah, 3 little birds. Yeah, that's another Capricorn that helped to give everybody the right to vote, not just dudes. What if there's a children's suffrage movement? Children should get the right to vote too. Women didn't always have the right. We should get the right to vote. Somebody would have to step in and say, oh, no. Well, you never know. So we're going to look for like an inventor of some kind. That's the quest. Was there an inventor or like a significant athlete or an innovator of some type? There's an interesting playwright, a Czech playwright named Karel Čapek, born in 1890. And he coined the word robot, it says. That's what it gives him credit for. Like, if you are writing something like before, around the turn of the century at about 1900, 1910, and you say robot, and nobody's ever heard that before. What the hell? Robotic thing. The innovation came from the word robot, derived from Slavic roots. That's interesting these days because we got robots coming out to do all kinds of stuff. Looked like he dedicated some of his plays to just like exploring some type of science fiction before it was really called science fiction. But I dig those, what I call kind of like a social fiction. Like if this scenario were to be the case, were to be true, what would take place during that? Like movie that comes to mind is called Gattaca. I think Gattaca, this movie from maybe the early 90s. Ethan Hawke was in it. Another Ethan. Shout out to Ethans everywhere. My name's Ethan, by the way, creator of Not Just Ninjas. And I was not in that movie Gattaca. Ethan Hawke was. But it was like a world not too distant in the future, but when most people by this time have been, their genes, before they were born, or maybe even before they were conceived, their genes were set to not have any like deficiencies, abnormalities, imperfections. So most people were genetically kind of corrected before they were even born. And then you have these other people called, that there's still some of, their parents didn't have as much money, et cetera, et cetera. They were born like the natural way. I can't remember if they were called the natties or the normies, something like that, I don't know. But if you wanted to be in the astronaut program, you definitely couldn't be a naturally born person because God knows what your genes are what's going to happen when your imperfected genes suddenly catch up with you, and all of a sudden you start sneezing, coughing, whatever, you get a disease, you malfunction, you crash out, whatever. So you couldn't go to space or do most cool things. But Ethan Hawke's character was one of these natural born people, but he was really smart. He wanted to go to space, So he kind of faked his way into doing it. He wanted to fake his way into doing it. And his brother was like his genes were perfected. And then Jude Law. Jude Law was a perfected gene guy too. He wanted to help Ethan Hawke fake that he was perfect so that he could go up to the moon. And the reason Jude Law was invested in that is because I think he was crippled by by an accident, so he couldn't go. And so he somehow felt like he would vicariously go through that. He was motivated to do so. Check that movie out, but that's an example of like a social fiction. And I gotta get the hell out of here. This thing is going off the rails just for the tangents that I go on. We gotta find somebody who's like a ninja we can really be inspired by here. We got Richard Nixon, born this day, January the 9th. American politician, the 37th president of the United States of America. It is so interesting to think of like Nixon. I'm not a crook, Watergate. There's this thing that just, there's a few movies about Watergate. If the guy did anything good at all, if he had any redeeming value as a human being, that's kind of stripped away. There's like one story that is basically going to be told forever for the rest of time about Nixon, and that's like the Watergate deal. Let's try to find something, since we're looking at a president here, that was impressive in some way. He was a vice president under Eisenhower, lost to John F. Kennedy in 1960, and then won in 1968, succeeding LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson. Seemed like he wanted to end the Vietnam War, which had the nation polarized, the Vietnam War. So that was something they were experiencing, some type of polarity among the people at that time, which means that whoever came out on top of that polarity at that time, they wrote his history, and that's what we shall forever know about him. But it's interesting that he tried in 1960 and then won in 1968. That's a good minute. So let's give him some tenacity, and for saying, look, I'm not a crook. I know you think I am, but I'm not a crook. That's pretty tight little message. Just, hey, is there anything else you want to say before you get on that helicopter? Yeah, I'm not a crook. Bye. Go live my life. And I believe he died within the past. Nixon died. Yeah, I think when I was in high school, a while ago. All right, so we have a president that was born this day, and we have a president of the first president of Guinea, Ahmed Sékou Touré. In 1922, this guy was born, and if you're in Guinea and they've never had a president before, you must be pretty impressive to, in some way, to become the very first president. You know, that's like their version of George Washington, but the Guinean version of George Washington. All right, we have, all right, I definitely have to get out of here by 8:40. Definitely. So the last one. By the way, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And it's going to be hard for YouTube to figure this one out, to see who the audience really is. Because, yeah, we're focused on trying to inspire and show positivity and how to overcome like the challenges you might have in the workplace with your teammates, with your staff. But also we really like sports and movies and music. So it's kind of a jumbled up. What is my favorite part about history? Thanks, you're the top commenter for sure. My favorite part about history as a concept, or as like my favorite thing that happened in history. I'm thinking of this song that says, it's like this, I should get Alexa to play it. Right Here, Right Now by Jesus Jones, is it? That says, watching the world wake up from history, right here, right now. That was one of the most inspiring, like, when I heard that song a little later and like, or maybe like at that, around that time that it came out, there was this like unified understanding that it was like something you could feel, and that song kind of like was a vibe to ride with this feeling that we are lucky right now to be right here right now watching the world wake up from history, like all these cycles of things that occur throughout history. You're like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh yeah, those people flooded the streets and beheaded that person. Those people overthrew. Then they tried this other form of government for 60 years, and then some other people overthrew them. And there was this insane barbarism. And like, okay, all that has happened. The entire world is now populated with an advanced, some type of at least technologically aware society, ingenuity, based society. It's all populated, and we're lucky to be right here, right now, watching the world wake up from this thing and kind of leading the way. Like, hey, now we can have a discussion about the ideas of like going further. And at that time, I think the space shuttle program was like, it seemed like there was an airplane that people could get on and start doing new things even outside of Earth. And I'd say history, my favorite part about history is waking up from history. And when you feel like, oh my God, I think we're just stuck in history again, that's my least favorite part of it. So thank you for, bam. Yeah, and you said thing, favorite thing. Let's just say that song is my favorite part of history. I don't know. It occurred to me early on that like whatever city you're in, that's the best city. Whatever or like whatever school you go to, you're like, hey, we're the Maple Hill Eagles. We're the best school. Well, are you really, or is that just the one that you go to? Like you have a really good sense of the one you go to. And so it was always interesting and to say like, wait, am I just super ass lucky to be born in the United States of America? Is this like really, like what is interesting about this place? And what are the advantages of this? Does everybody feel like, damn, I'm lucky to be, holy shit, like this is the best? Or is it just arbitrarily, and most people think that where they live at is the best and has the most advantage for them? So just early on, sentimentality and then history and ideas got me just really digging the history of the American Revolution. So the play Hamilton, maybe the play Hamilton is the best part of history, not the history it tells. But yeah, that's why yeah, I play the music from Hamilton all the time. Me and my son, we just freaking love it, analyze all of it. So thanks for asking that question. Do you know who Bob Denver is? Also born this day. So we go from so president, we had a president of Guinea, we had Richard Nixon, we had a woman's suffrage advocate from Wisconsin. Now we go to 1935, Bob Denver, like kind of a comedic actor. And he was Gilligan on Gilligan's Island. Put that in freaking history right there. You got like 4 or 5 people stuck on an island, supposed to just go on a tour, and they're all of a sudden they're trying to figure out how they're going to live on this island. And that series went on. How long did that series go on? Does anybody know how long Gilligan's Island ran? How many? I guess not just how many seasons, because maybe seasons were only like 4 episodes back then. I don't know. But Gilligan from Gilligan's Island, way to go. It doesn't really elaborate on that much because I didn't use the correct AI feature today. But I watched Harry. Bye. Hey, thank you for those comments. Cheers. And so if Gilligan is not the headliner, I don't know who is. It's got to be Gilligan, because Gilligan's Island was massive. And I don't know, it was like Friends before Friends. Like everybody, it just made you feel like, hey, that's pretty happy. And they always had to like have these misunderstandings that take place in those old sitcoms. I think there was a laugh track, but I'm not sure if there was an audience there. Jimmy Page, born this day, another ninja that just brought these skills and made he was a guitarist for frickin' Zeppelin. Stairway to Heaven. Hey, no stairway. It's right there on the sign. Let's see. Any more? We're getting almost up to the modern days now. Crystal Gale. Finally, we had, so that's 2 musicians in a row. Crystal Gale, her freaking voice, just underutilized. What are some good Crystal Gale songs? Let's see. Crystal Gale. Songs. Don't it make my brown eyes blue? Maybe I'm getting her confused with somebody else. I mean, yeah, absolutely good voice. I remember that. But I thought there were a couple of bangers that we had to rock. I don't know. She was kind of a legend of country music. And I know she had a very good voice, but as far as songs, Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue. Born in Kentucky. Hey, we had a viewer from Kentucky on here. Some Kentucky roots. And we got to keep this thing moving. So we had a couple of musicians now. We had some presidents, some musicians, an actor, Gilligan's Island. Bob Denver was born this day. I'd say the headliner so far is Bob. No, this is the headliner. Born this freaking day. We got a new headliner. Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews takes the cake. I think Dave Matthews is going to go down as the headliner in this. This guy is a musician who really just, at the time that I was in college, his music came out as like music doesn't have to be this poppy sound that it has to be. Like, it became, I know the Grateful Dead was like, did their own jam band type of sound, but I don't know, Dave Matthews had this gap that was bridged between, like, sometimes like it does sound like, pop rock music, but then you're like, wait, that's a 14-20 minute long song that they were just jamming out with like full like saxophone, the horn section, there's strings in there. It just seems like the concert experience, if you go watch any Dave Matthews concert, you're like, that is the ideal like vibe that we should probably have here. Good sound, you'll have some funk in there, some ethereal like time to enjoy the different sentiments. And I'm sure somebody else could say how good of a guitar player he is, or songwriter, or whatever, but he was a lead vocalist and Grammy Award winning artist, lead singer of the Dave Matthews Band. And he was born in South Africa, lived there for a while, lived in England, but he's known as a Virginian, around Charlottesville, Virginia, quite a bit, and he's a winemaker. So makes some wine, grow some grapes out in the hills of Virginia, and yeah, thank you, Dave. I believe that's the headliner for me. Yeah, Dave frickin' Matthews, lead singer of the Dave Matthews Band. I think just edging out Gilligan. Does anybody support that? Dave Matthews? Okay, yeah, Dave Matthews it is. Dave Matthews, the ultimate, you're not just a musician, you're actually bridging gaps and cultures and instruments and making all these things happen. Thank you, and thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing too, if you did, or giving a like. As we try to keep this up, it's not 9 o'clock yet. I'm gonna go try to earn some revenue now. And I hope you earn some great revenue. Have a good time with the people you love, and enjoy your weekend.